monsters, secrets, and a betrayal that could change everything we thought we knew about Monarch. Yeah, Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 Episode 3 just delivered one of the most emotional and shocking moments in the entire series. And honestly, if you came in expecting another episode full of Titan chaos, the show kind of pulls a sneaky move on us. Instead of pure monster mayhem, this episode digs deep into the relationships that built Monarch in the first place. And let's just say things get messy really fast. Because look, we've always known that the friendship between Bill Randa, Keiko Miura, and Lee Shaw was the heart of the story. These three basically laid the foundation for Monarch, but Episode 3 finally pulls back the curtain on a secret that's been quietly hanging over them since Season 1, and the fallout is brutal. And here's the thing, while the past timeline is unraveling this emotional bombshell, the present timeline is quietly building toward another disaster, because the mysterious and terrifying Titan X is on the move again, and its path might lead straight to another catastrophic event. You know what's crazy? By the time this episode ends, you start realizing that the biggest shock might not come from a Titan attack at all, but from a single letter that changes how we see the entire MonsterVerse history. But before we dive into all the details, theories, and that heartbreaking reveal, welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Alright, let's break down Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 Episode 3, because there's a lot going on beneath the surface, and some of these moments might completely reshape what happens next in the MonsterVerse. The discovery that changes Bill Randa forever. So let's start with the moment that changes everything. If you remember the premiere of Season 2, the big spectacle was Titan X emerging from the Axis Mundi after Kate opened the portal. That was chaos. The monster shows up, people panic, and Natalie Verdugo gets killed almost instantly. Episode 2 continued that energy with Lee barely escaping Titan X by using one of those mysterious scarabs as bait. But Episode 3, it takes a totally different approach. Instead of another giant Titan chase, the real drama happens between the three characters who started it all: Bill Randa, Keiko Miura, and Lee Shaw. Since Season 1, their friendship has been the emotional backbone of the series. They're scientists, explorers, and honestly, kinda dreamers who believed there was more to the world than people realized. But the show has also been quietly hinting that their relationship was never as stable as it looked. Because yeah, Keiko is married to Bill, but she also has undeniable chemistry with Lee. And we already saw in Season 1 that they crossed a line when they kissed. Episode 3 basically says, alright, let's deal with that. After everything they've been through, running from monsters, hiding from locals, and trying to survive, Lee and Keiko end up taking shelter in an abandoned cabin. At first, they try to pretend the tension between them doesn't exist. They say they've moved past the kiss, they try to act normal, but come on, you can tell they're lying to themselves. Eventually, Keiko tends to Lee's wound, emotions take over, and they finally give in to their feelings. They kiss again, and this time they go all the way. It's messy, emotional, and honestly, kinda heartbreaking, because you know this moment is going to destroy something important. But here's the wild part. Right after that night, Keiko writes Lee a letter.
In it, she basically admits the truth. She loves him, but she also says that her love for Bill is bigger and that she can't abandon the life they built together. It's her way of closing the door on what happened between them. Lee is completely crushed by this. The guy who survived Titans and impossible missions suddenly looks like he's fighting something he can't win. He drowns his frustration in alcohol, clearly realizing that whatever he and Keiko had, it's over. At least that's what they think. Because years later, after Keiko and Lee disappear into the Axis Mundi, Bill Randa stumbles upon Lee's belongings, and inside them, he finds the letter. The episode ends before we actually see Bill read the entire thing, but honestly, we don't need to. The camera shows Keiko's handwriting. It shows Lee's name, and the look on Bill's face tells you everything you need to know. Bill Randa just discovered that his wife had an affair with his best friend. Yeah, that's brutal. And suddenly, Bill's mysterious behavior from earlier seasons starts making a lot more sense.
What happened?
Nothing. It's fine.
Okay. the complicated love triangle between Keiko, Lee, and Bill. So now the question becomes, was that really the end of their relationship? Because if you think about it, the emotional tension between Lee and Keiko has been building for a long time. Episode 2 already hinted that their feelings hadn't disappeared. During the festival meant to summon Titan X, they almost kissed again while remembering their moment from Season 1. That scene alone told us their story wasn't finished. Episode 3 just takes it to its inevitable conclusion. When they hide out in the abandoned cabin, both of them try to pretend they've moved on. They tell themselves the kiss was a mistake. They insist they're past it. But honestly, look, anyone watching that scene can see the truth. These two have been carrying unresolved feelings for years. And when Keiko starts tending to Lee's injury, that emotional wall finally collapses. Their relationship explodes into something real, but also incredibly complicated. Lee even tells her, "I can't leave you." That line says everything. For him, this wasn't just a moment of weakness. It was something deeper. But Keiko ultimately chooses Bill. Her letter makes that clear. She confesses her love for Lee, but says the life she built with Bill matters more. She's trying to do the responsible thing. She's trying to protect her marriage. The problem is, secrets have consequences. Because even if Keiko believed she was ending things the right way, Bill eventually finds out. And now, the damage is unavoidable. Honestly, you kind of feel bad for everyone involved here. Bill gets his heart broken, Lee loses the woman he loves, and Keiko is stuck between loyalty and emotion. Nobody wins in this situation. But from a storytelling perspective, this moment is huge, because it may explain why Bill Randa later becomes so distant from his son Hiroshi. Think about it. If Bill discovered the affair around the same time his friends disappeared into the Axis Mundi, he might have been dealing with grief, betrayal, and guilt all at once. That kind of emotional storm could easily push someone away from their family. So suddenly, Bill's mysterious legacy in the Monsterverse starts to make a lot more sense.
A long-range sonar system that can piggyback to your arrays and extends their range and sense.
Apex Cybernetics' hidden agenda revealed. Now, while all this emotional drama is happening in the past timeline, the present timeline is building another major conflict. And that conflict revolves around Apex Cybernetics. If you've been following the series closely, you already know Apex isn't exactly trustworthy. They've always felt like the shady corporate counterpart to Monarch's scientific approach. Monarch wants to understand Titans. Apex wants to control them.
Replicate the sound.
I believe I can reconfigure the emitter coils on the Suzuki device.
Episode 3 pushes that tension even further. Jason from Apex suddenly shows up on the Monarch ship with new technology and immediately starts acting like he owns the place. He basically takes control of the operation, which obviously doesn't sit well with the Monarch team. There's this constant tension in the air because nobody fully trusts Apex. They claim they're there to help track Titan X, but their behavior suggests they have their own agenda, and eventually, the truth starts slipping through the cracks. Apex tracks down Shaw and the others and steals the technology Hiroshi created. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all.
Meanwhile, Tim starts putting the pieces together. He realizes Apex might be hiding something bigger, so he asks May, also known as Cora, to secretly act as his mole inside the company. Honestly, this subplot is setting up something massive, because if Apex is gathering Titan technology behind the scenes, it means they're preparing for something. Maybe a weapon, maybe control systems, maybe something even more dangerous. And if you know anything about the Monsterverse, corporations messing with Titan power rarely ends well. Titan X's path of destruction is getting closer. Now let's talk about the looming threat that ties both timelines together, Titan X. For most of episode 3, the monster actually stays in the background, which is kind of surprising considering how aggressively it was introduced in the first 2 episodes. But that quiet buildup might actually make its next appearance even more terrifying. Because by the end of the episode, we finally learn where Titan X is headed, San Francisco. Yeah, the same city that was devastated during Godzilla's attack on G-Day. Kate has returned there, hoping to reconnect with her mother and maybe live something resembling a normal life again. But honestly, you can tell she's still deeply traumatized by everything she's experienced. She watched cities collapse, she saw Titans destroy entire landscapes, and now she knows she might have accidentally unleashed another catastrophe by opening the Axis Mundi portal. That guilt is eating her alive.
Then Monarch confirms the worst possible news. Titan X is moving along a path that mirrors Godzilla's route during G-Day, and suddenly the clock starts ticking. Because if Titan X reaches San Francisco, history might repeat itself. What makes this even more terrifying is that we still don't fully understand Titan X's motivation. Why is it following this path? Is it hunting something? Is it reacting to the scarabs? Or is there an even bigger force guiding it? Honestly, that mystery might be the biggest question heading into episode 4. Because right now, it feels like the calm before another massive disaster.
Maybe they want the world to know this thing is out there.
Our nerdy thoughts. At the end of the day, episode 3 proves something important about this series. Sure, giant monsters are the headline attraction, but the real story of Monarch has always been about people, their relationships, their mistakes, and the ripple effects those choices create across generations. Bill finding that letter might not involve a Titan attack, but emotionally it's just as explosive. And the scary part, the fallout from that moment might only be beginning.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.